Γεια σας, welcome to Ben TV. I'm Anthony Lekkas. I'm Greek and bisexual, and my parents hail from Kalamata.
Hello everyone, my name is Ada. I come from Greece, Athens in particular, and my whole family is from Athens.
Hi, I'm Steve. I'm the Mayor of the City of Stonington, and my parents are from Kalamata, and I'm gay.
Hi, I'm John. I run Greek and Gay Support Network, so obviously I'm gay at the moment. And my parents hail from Crete and from Epiro.
Well, thank you for coming onto the show, everyone. And we're here to talk about life here in Melbourne as being Greek and queer. I'm interested to know from all three of you, what's it like to be here in Melbourne and to have an identity not only as a Melburnian, but also being queer?
Well, I think it's easier to be yourself in Melbourne because where we come from, Greece, it's a bit conservative society, I would say. So for me, it has worked really well being here and being myself.
Well, I've always lived in Melbourne, so I've always, I know no different really. Always lived in the city of Stonington, lived in Melbourne, grew up in there, and then I moved to Paran, now in Armidale. So it's a great city to live in. I don't know where else I'd want to live. It'd be great.
Yeah, it's fine. Now.
So what about bringing our queerness into the mix? How has that been with particularly our families? What's it like to be Greek and queer? Coming out to our families, what's that been like?
Mine was about 19 years ago. I wasn't planning it. My mother just asked me. It was hell, to put it in mild terms. But, you know, things change over time. And plus, I think the importance of family in the Greek community, regardless of what our children do or what our parents do or whatever, we're still connected as a family. So our sexuality, while they may not approve or they disapprove, it's just a part of who we are.
Right.
Or I guess they don't understand it sometimes too, or they choose not to engage or reference it, which is fine.
As in mentioning your
mentioning
queerness?
it or talking about it or referencing it or anything. And for me, it's, you know, I am who I am, and I make it as normal as everything else is, whatever normal is. And so I don't explicitly say it to people. I don't always go out there and say, look, I'm gay, because it's not necessarily relevant. But I don't hide it either. So when I introduce my husband, I say, look, this is my husband, his name is, and I make it as part of normal conversation.
Okay. So not married in a Greek Orthodox church, I'm guessing.
No, civil ceremony.
Okay.
Yes.
And Ada, what about you?
Coming out to my family was pretty easy.
In Athens?
In Athens, yes. Around 8 years ago, 9. It was a fairly easy process, no dramas involved. No, nothing happened.
That's surprising because Greeks invented drama, right?
Exactly.
There's nothing dramatic happening there. Go on.
I think probably because my family is open-minded, and one thing, and secondly, I think they always knew that about me, so it didn't come to surprise when I said, guys, you know, I prefer women than men. They said, yeah, probably, yeah, we had an idea.
So let me ask about that, because John, you said something similar that your mum knew, but if they knew this about us, why is it so difficult for them? Why was the experience so negative? Why can't it just be a thing we talk about in our Greek families?
I think from my parents' perspective, it was more, we have a saying in Greek, "Τι θα πει ο κόσμος?" In other words, what's the rest of the community going to say?
Yeah.
Especially their church communities, because Greeks are very, especially our parents' generation, are very
Religious-based.
Religious-based, and a lot of stuff happens around the church,
Yep.
whether it's church-related or not. So they've developed these community groups, and then, you know, they're ashamed to go out there because someone might find out, as eventually some did, and then start questioning them as to, is that your son?
Right, because there is a lot about saving face and protecting the family image, I guess. And I'm just sort of wondering about, do we forget that as queer people? We come out and we want to be accepted, which is fair enough and valid, but then our parents' generation and extended family members have to go through their own coming out with telling people about us as their family members being queer?
Or do they at all? And
Right,
maybe,
yes.
I mean, my parents are in their early 80s, and so it's probably no different to that same generation of Anglo-Saxon. So And that generation probably still finds it difficult to understand or accept. But I think the younger generation, so maybe those under the age of 50, might find it more easier. I don't know what, what your age or your parents are, but
I agree, and I think the hard part for my parents, if there is a hard part in the whole thing, is them actually telling to their broader family and their friends and peers that my daughter is lesbian, gay, or whatever. I think that they don't actually say it. They think it's something very personal into the family that the rest of the world doesn't need to know.
Right. So the don't ask, don't tell kind of philosophy happens in the Greek culture.
What happened to you?
Well, I came out fairly late, so I'm 42 and I came out at 35 to my family. And interestingly, a week after I came out to each of them, I jumped on a plane and went to Athens and spent 2 months in Europe. So let them digest it while I'm away in the homeland. It was a don't ask, don't tell. And I think it took them a while to become accustomed to that news and information. Did you find yourselves being the only queer in the Greek village in your families?
For a short time, yes. I've discovered more since. You feel a little bit like that, but at the same time, when I came out, I was at Greek and Gay Support Network. So we had a lot of support from other people, so everyone was relaying their stories. So you didn't feel alone from that aspect.
Okay.
And that was one of the good things about having that support behind us at the time.
Steve, what about in your family? Because you're a very public figure.
Yeah, I guess I am. And I have a varied mix of friends, both male and female. And most of my friends have not been Greek. Most of my friends have been non-Greeks. And so when I went to primary school, I was one of 2 Greeks in the whole school, really. And so it wasn't, for me, it was very multicultural, whatever I was surrounded by. And going to Greek school every Saturday morning was hell. And I hated it. But, you know, now that I'm thankful for it because I can now speak a bit of Greek, you know, and when I go to Greece, I sound very embarrassed because I say karo instead of avtokinito, I say friza instead of the psygio, which is so embarrassing. But, you know, you get over it.
Yeah, boxia instead of box.
And Ada, what about you? When you came out to your family, were you the only queer person known to your family?
Yes, as far as I know, no one else. No one else.
Okay.
I mean, no
so
one
you
else
represented
open.
the whole lesbian community to your family, did you?
I guess. I'm the one and only, proud on my own. Yes.
And then she left.
And then she left,
She came to Australia.
Yeah, that's it.
And so can I ask about that? What's been the transition for you coming to Australia, and how have you experienced the queer culture here in terms of which might have been different or not in Athens?
Yeah, it's way different. When I first came here, I was surprised seeing people, women with women and men with men holding hands, kissing each other, showing affection. And I said, oh, they do this in public here. Oh. And that was a big surprise for me because in Greece everyone is hiding, no one is doing anything.
Really? Because, you know, us Greeks, we hug and kiss everyone. Like I remember as a kid, you would kiss and your dad. I kiss my dad every night. And when you see your uncles and aunts, you always kiss, and I still do. Right. So it's a normal thing. I made it normal. So even when I'm kissing a friend of mine, it's always what Greeks do.
It depends on how you kiss.
Oh well, exactly. But
yes, we do that. I grew up in a family and we hug and kiss, but not couples. I mean, not men with men and women with women, lesbians and gays.
Yes,
they would never.
Not romantically, but there is this sort of culture, I agree, in family where there's a lot of affection shown, there's a lot of hugging each other and lots of sort of embracing each other quite passionately, actually.
Yeah, we do that, but not romantically, as you said.
Right.
You wouldn't see 2 men holding hands going in the tram in Athens, no way.
Yeah.
Here is very normal.
Thank you, all of you, for coming onto the program today and talking about all things Greek and queer. We'll hope to have you back again soon. You've been watching Greek and Queer Conversations here on BENT TV. I'm Anthony Lekkas.